Hello. It's been a while since I made a video like this. Say hi, Ding. Anyway, I'm getting over a cold right now, so if I sound a little nasally, that's why. Um, I'm going through trying to um, make sure I have everything that I need to graduate because it's like impossible to get a meeting with counselors and stuff. Um, like the online process for it at Sac State is ridiculous. It's like there's so much red tape and stuff that you have to go through to just get an official meeting with a counselor. And so I'm just going through the pretty much do it yourself, the what if scenario for graduation, and it tells you what you need and what you've already done. I'm going through that right now. I'm going to try to print it out so I can go through everything by hand and make sure I don't miss anything. Um, and I figured while I'm trying to figure that out with my printer has not been working too well for me, so I'm going to try and see if I can fix it. But in the meantime, I figured I'd talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected me as a computer science student, which, I've been telling myself this the whole time. I'm like, the pandemic hasn't really affected much of my day-to-day life. And now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm realizing all the subtle ways that this pandemic has affected me and my motivation. And I don't know, it's kind of sad. But pretty much I started out thinking nothing really changed for me. I'm a computer science student. I'm a homebody by nature. I like hanging out inside. I recharge inside by myself or with my girlfriend. That's how I recharge. I'm like constantly in my. It's like having your computer, like having your laptop, and always having it plugged in. That's what it's been like. That's what I've been thinking of it as. When in reality, having it plugged in for so long is making the battery start to explode. I think that's a pretty good comparison for it there. But let me see. I guess I should just start from the beginning. So I transferred to Sac State right after COVID hit. So COVID hit spring of 2020, and I transferred fall of 2020. And I think the hard part for me was due dates and keeping everything completely straight. Because right when I transferred to Sac State, our orientation was online. We didn't have any like physical like papers that they gave us. Everything was sent to us through emails, and it is really easy for stuff to get caught up in your emails. Between random stuff that doesn't matter, like spam, and this is like a brand new email too. I got spam from the university, and there's no like good way to differentiate between like important and non-important emails. I have to go through every single one of them, and that in and of itself is draining. Just to go through all that and figure out what's important and what's not. And then taking all that information of what is important and putting it, say, in a planner or something like that, and then having all the due dates and everything set because, like, for example, when you transfer, you start as a pre-major, so you can't actually enroll in classes, in upper division classes for your major until you've become a full major, and you have to apply for that. For some reason, it makes no sense, but that's some like red tape crap that we had to go through. On top of a whole bunch of other stuff, they're like, you have to make sure you have your writing intensive done by this date, and then you enroll on this date, and you have to have all these other like. For some reason, we got accepted, but I swear I submitted my transcripts probably like 3 or 4 different times until I haven't had to do anything since then. And I don't know why I had to submit it so many times. I had to submit it to different people. and it was just really, really annoying. And that was all within the first like couple months. It was very, very hectic that first couple of months online. Meanwhile, I was telling myself like this is what I do. I'm all on the computer. My head is attached to the computer pretty much. It's like a symbiotic relationship that I have with my computer. Um, I don't know, when in reality it's like it's not as efficient. It's not that efficient being connected to your computer like that. I don't know. That might have been a bad explanation. But yeah, anyway, just having to keep track of all that. I've always been like a planner type of person, but then I usually it kind of wears off a little bit. Like my motivation will die down a little bit. I'll get into the groove of how the semester is supposed to go, and I'll just course through the rest of the course. I'll just go right through it. I usually don't have many problems with that, but of course, sometimes problems do pop up, which did happen to me, unfortunately. I had the first, I'd say, 2 months of my fall term like completely planned out on my planner. I had everything done. And so once I got into the groove of it, I was like, okay, I don't think I have many more due dates. So I'm kind of just chilling besides like regular stuff like every Tuesday, Thursday, we have to have this submitted at this time, and it just repeats every week. So it's like I don't really need to keep a planner for that and all the other stuff that goes on in my other courses. Because then it just makes me feel like filling stuff out on a planner is just like useless, because I know that what's going to be due when, except for some random times, and that's really where it screws me over. I don't know, maybe that's something I can work on. But it's all kind of been a microcosm of this whole pandemic thing, I'd say. It has really not made things easier in terms of planning and making sure I know when stuff is due. And even like managing my notifications on my phone is hard. I've been like I'm on Discord, which is where I communicate with a lot of other students about assignments and stuff like that, but it's also a platform for gaming. And if I don't have all of my notifications configured 100% correctly, then I'm getting notifications from Twitch streamers and stuff like that, and which have nothing to do with my academics. And then there's no moderation on any of the Discord servers for my classes. So people will post stuff. It's really hard to explain, but in each channel in a Discord server, you can have notifications configured for each channel. So there's one for like general, there's one for homework questions. So maybe I don't want to hear what's going on in general and I only want to hear about homework questions, or one that's like due dates and stuff like that. I'd want to have those on. But people will just post randomly in homework questions when it's not a homework question. So I'll just get random notifications, and there's no good way to filter out what's important. And I think that's, now that I'm talking about it out loud, it seems like kind of a common theme about online school is just filtering out important information online is very difficult. Even with like Gmail, there's like a star that you can do yourself, and then there's like a little, it looks like a angle bracket that's highlighted in yellow, and those ones are automatic, and then you can uncheck it if you want to. So that kind of helps a little bit, but I still get stuff that's highlighted that shouldn't be, and I get stuff that isn't highlighted that should be. So it's just really, really difficult. It's hard. But yeah, I'm just trying to graduate on time, and it's so hard. Like, obviously I didn't make it that easy for myself coming into where I am now. But, I had other stuff going on then. I was like, I would say my mental health has slowly gotten better. It's kind of been like maybe like a parabola from start to finish. You could say that I graduated high school and my mental health was up here, and slowly it declined. Um, as say I got to my second year of junior college, and then from that second year until maybe I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was my sophomore year at junior college, which ended up turning into 2 years of my sophomore year. My sophomore year was 2 years long, um, and that was really really difficult. I'd say, yeah. So this was the first year, and then this is the second year. So got here, and then I'd say I met my girlfriend and things started to slowly go up. And I'm not saying that this part that started to go up wasn't hard. It was very very difficult to manage classes, a girlfriend, and work all at the same time. It was very hard, but the trends in my mental health were definitely going up and have gotten me to where I am now, which is what I'm pretty happy with. I'm very happy with the projection of my mental health after that turning point. So I'm very proud of myself, very thankful to everybody that helped me throughout that time too. Um, Man, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say it's all about the people that you surround yourself with, the people that want to see you succeed, um, you know, regardless of their own like personal feelings about you, people that just want to see you succeed. Um, it's good to surround yourself with people like that because not everybody is going to celebrate your wins. So the people that do celebrate your wins, always keep them around with you. I'd say that's my wisdom that I've picked up over this time. Um, but maybe I can think of some of the key factors that went into my mental health rising. Well, I guess I should probably start with why my mental health went down in the first place. And I think it went down because I was I don't want to say me being isolated was the reason why, but I think honestly, choosing my major as computer science did not help at all. I never had anxiety. I think the biggest personal factor was probably like personal issues with certain people, like friends and family, those kinds of issues. Um, my girlfriend's calling. I'll be right back. Okay, my girlfriend just called me. But as I was saying, the reasons for my mental downfall was because of like relationships with friends and family and stuff like that were not helping my mental health, and they were just giving me anxiety. I would say anxiety was the root of my mental health. It's the I don't know about the cause, but it's definitely the negative effect that happened from my mental health decline. I just was anxious all the time, and I didn't know how to stop. I have always been a great public speaker, for example. In high school, in middle school, in elementary school, I've never had a problem with public speaking until I got to community college. And then at the very, very bottom, it was almost right after I met my girlfriend, and it started to go back up. This is the very, very bottom, was when I had a panic attack in my communications class. Our professor had asked us she put a scale on the whiteboard, and she was like, mark yourself where you are, saying this is like super confident in public speaking, not very confident in public speaking. And we were going to mark a place on the whiteboard and then compare it with where we'd mark ourselves at the end. So I put almost exactly in the middle. I was like, I'm pretty indifferent about it. It never really made me nervous, but I was never really excited to do it either. So I just put myself in the middle, and I'd say by the end of that, I would be like negative on the board. And usually I think the main cure for public speaking, like anxiety, is to actually do public speaking. And in this case, because of where I was with my mental health at that time, it just plummeted for I don't know why. It just this one time I did one presentation before this happened and I did fine. In fact, I would say I did really well, and even other people would like steal my answers when they came up to talk after me. It was like a self-introduction kind of thing, and people would like, oh, like as Johnny said, I also think like this. So I had no problems with public speaking or anything like that. And then there was just one day that I didn't get enough sleep. I was stressed out, and my mental health was at like the lowest point, and I had to do a presentation that morning, and I had a panic attack right in the middle. Everything went blank. My body felt ice cold, and I was speaking, but I didn't understand what I was saying. It was like my mind left my body pretty much. I've never had any experience like that. And thinking about it makes me really sad, because compared to like what I used to be, how I used to be completely fine with it, it's insane. But yeah, that was probably my downfall, like the very bottom of my mental health, I'd say. And then slowly but surely, I started to work on my mental health, take time for myself. I dropped that class because I was like, I'm not going to let it get the best of me. I'm going to come back and you know, my next speech is going to be great, and they're going to be like, wow, I can't believe he redeemed himself. That was my attitude going into it. But my anxiety that I had just built up even before that happened, and then after that happened, it just made it way worse. I just couldn't public speak anymore. It was just something that I couldn't do anymore. And it just took me to places in my head where I even thought worse of myself, and I was like beating myself up. And yeah, that was really bad. Let me think. I had another train of thought where that was going. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So I ended up dropping that class, and I dropped another class that I took with a professor that was way too hard. I did amazing in the math classes that I took leading up to that, and this one that I was taking was supposed to be easier than the other two that I took, and it was just with a really hard professor. And my friend and I were like, yeah, let's just try to take him. Like, we're really good at math now. I think we could probably do well in his class, because the people that did well in his class were like, they were all math majors pretty much. The only people that could pass his classes were math majors. It was just so difficult, and so we were like, we're pretty good. I think we could pass his class. And I had never failed a class before until that term, and I failed 2 classes, and that just destroyed me. It destroyed everything that I thought I was. I hold really high standards for myself, and that just completely destroyed it. So then the next term after that, I think I took, I think that was fall. And then in spring, I took a physics class and like 2 other classes. This was a really, really hard physics class. So I was like, I want to have like a light load. Like, I don't care if I have to make it up later. I just want to take a really light load and take this really hard physics class. And then I ended up failing the physics class because it was too hard. Not that the class was too hard, but the professor was too hard. This Sierra College STEM is no joke. Because of the professors, I went and took it the next term. Actually, I think it was a year later. I took it at a different college and I got an A, and it was no problem. It's literally just these professors at this one college that I don't know what's wrong with them, but they cannot teach. They can't teach, pretty much. That's what it comes down to. But that set me back so much, and it set me back mentally. It set me back in terms of my degree, and it's just set me back in what I thought of myself and what I thought I could do. And then, let's see. I'm trying to think. Actually, I think that was spring term. I think that was all the same term I took. No, I'm mixing up what the terms were. But anyway, that coming summer, the first summer of me having that girlfriend, it was a great summer. I took 3 classes. I retook that communications class, but I took it online. I took a linear algebra, and then I took a databases class. And literally any counselor that I would have talked to would say that that's crazy and don't do that because you're just like bound to fail. But I did it. I did fine. I passed all the classes. Not only did I pass the classes, but I also had a part-time job, and I would go hang out with my girlfriend every other day and go on weekend trips. And that's when my mental health started to improve and it started to rebound. It kind of felt like I knew who I was again, and I could just keep going from there. Yeah, and eventually that led to me where I am now, and trying to figure out this whole pandemic thing. It all ties into one little circle. I don't know how to describe it. It all ties in together, though. Stuff that happens in your past tends to affect you. It wasn't until about a month ago when I was like, I can't afford therapy, so I'm going to take it upon myself to go back through the worst few months of my life and figure out why it messed me up so much. And I figured it out. Just going by, I don't know, social media posts I've made. Just writing down what I was doing at the time. Who I was talking to, who I was surrounding myself with. And it just became clear to me what the problem was, and knowing that didn't solve any problems immediately, but just knowing that is good. But yeah, anyway, my girlfriend's calling me. I'm probably going to end this now because I don't have much more to say. Thanks for watching. If you did, I appreciate you, and see ya.